As they were leaving Jericho, a large crowd followed him. There were 2 blind men sitting by the roadside. When they heard that Jesus was passing by, they shouted, "Lord, have mercy on us, Son of David." The crowd sternly ordered them to be quiet, but they shouted even more loudly, "Have mercy on us, Lord, Son of David." Jesus stood still and called them, saying, "What do you want me to do for you?" They said to him, "Lord, let our eyes be opened." Moved with compassion, Jesus touched their eyes. Immediately they regained their sight and followed him.
The city of Jericho, with all its history found in the ancient scriptures, is found around 50 miles northeast of Jerusalem. Though that was quite a distance in the ancient Middle East, make no mistake, our, or more importantly Jesus' journey to Jerusalem is well underway. A good indicator is the crowd that we see following Jesus. This is likely the same crowd that will proclaim him as king as he enters Jerusalem, and perhaps even the same crowd that will shout for him to be crucified just a few days later. The journey to Jerusalem is a very real one. From the previous passage, where there are 2 men, James and John, looking for status alongside King Jesus, we come to an encounter with 2 men who are looking for something very, very different. These 2 blind men were beggars. We know that from the description used in another account of the story in Mark. Their most common everyday experience was to be ignored as they asked for money. The best they might hope for on the outskirts of a city where they were likely to be recognised by the majority of people was a bit of compassion. Perhaps a penny here and there. Perhaps even the odd scrap of food. So when they heard that this king was coming, their thoughts would have been on the riches he brought with them. Shout out his name, they'd have thought. Big him up. Make the most of the fact that cultural tradition in a shame and honour society meant those of the house of Israel who recognised the king, in this case with the title Son of David, would be owed by him. The honourable, the expected thing then for Jesus to do in return for that recognition was to reward them. And reward them he did. But not with money, but a question. What do you want me to do for you? We might think that was a crazy question for Jesus to ask 2 blind men, but it was actually an incredible question from someone who could have given them some money and then just walked on. Their response, though, is even more incredible. Don't forget, these 2 men are beggars. They needed every penny they could get, and this was royalty, a potential payday they might never see again. We can only guess what inspired them to respond with the words, "Lord, let our eyes be opened." Maybe it was the stories they'd heard about this king. Maybe there was just something about him. Maybe it was the Holy Spirit at work. Whatever it was, it led them to ask for the one thing that could change their lives way beyond money, for their eyes to be opened. Matthew tells us that Jesus was moved, and so he healed them, touched their eyes, gave them sight. Before Matthew carefully notes that they then choose to follow Jesus. Well, what else would you do when Jesus has given you everything you really wanted?